I can already tell you guys are gonna be great students. You get quiet over at the front, you're ready to go. I appreciate everybody's patience. I know we're starting a little behind schedule, but there were just such great conversations going out in the hallway that I didn't really want to break it up. Please know you'll have more opportunities to speak to our faculty, our staff, our students after this panel. So good afternoon and welcome to Delaware Law School. I am Dean Gardner. I am the Assistant Dean of Admissions here at Delaware Law School. I want to start by congratulating each and every one of you on your acceptance to law school. And I want to thank you for joining us here today for Accepted Applicant Community Day. In addition to my role in admissions, I'm also a very proud Delaware Law alum. So the focus of today's program is really near and dear to my heart, and that's this incredible community that you're about to join. Throughout the month of March, we've hosted several virtual events highlighting different aspects of our law school. We've talked about financial aid, practical skills, belonging, and the student experience. If you weren't able to join us or want to revisit those conversations, event recordings will be posted on our Accepted Applicant events page shortly. Some of them actually might already be up. For those who attended those events, you know that we have one-of-a-kind programs. We have excellent opportunities here for you at Delaware Law School, but it's really our people, our faculty, our staff, our students that make this place so special. And I truly think that that's something that'll be on display today. And I hope that you walk away from here having a better sense of our community. Today is all about them. Today is all about you, the newest members of our law school community. I hope you're excited for the fall, and I hope you leave here today with confidence that you belong here. We have a great program for you this afternoon. We're going to have a welcome from the dean of the law school in a moment. We're going to have a faculty panel, more meet and greet with our student services and our students out in the atrium, and an optional campus tour at the end of this day if you haven't had a chance to check out campus. Before I turn things over to Dean Clark to kick us off, I do want to give you a better sense of who we are here at Delaware Law School. And I think the best way to do that is to show you.
I have great pride to be a Delaware Law student.
Be a voice for someone else.
It's something you see yourself doing.
A great deal of pride.
I take pride in that.
Pride to be here.
When you join Widener University Delaware Law School, you join more than a community. You join a pride.
Widener University Delaware Law School is the pride of Delaware, not just in name, but in practice. Historically connected and working together day to day, we sit at the heart of Delaware's globally recognized unique legal culture. For 50 years, we've been tireless in our important work. As stewards of the law here in America's undisputed corporate capital, nearly 13,000 alumni practice locally and throughout the world. Professors and peers, alumni, and legal legends.
We're really committed to providing this transformative education and experience.
The professors help the students find what they're passionate about, give them the scaffolding they need to reach that potential.
You can get scholarships, you can get fellowships, you can get these incredible opportunities.
Without them, I wouldn't be able to have had a big law summer internship in different courthouses.
These experiences are truly fundamental to the practice of law.
To be a lawyer is to carry a special responsibility when you leave this place.
We will work together to help you become more than just a lawyer. We are the pride of Widener University, the pride of the state of Delaware, the pride of your community, and the pride to make a difference in your world. When everybody else is sleeping, we are working, and when they are working, we are working harder. We can unlock the opportunity for all of our students to accomplish their greatest potential. We will help you change the world. Come experience the power of the pride. Welcome to Delaware Law School. So before I get started, I want you to understand our mantra here at Delaware Law School. My job is to ensure, one, that you pass the bar the first time, and two, that you obtain gainful employment. And I have my assistant dean of career services right here to make sure you get a job. So make sure you engage with her right now. Now, the other piece of this, so let me show you how this works. When I say we will, the response is always going to be pass the first time. That is so important because it unlocks the opportunity for you. The reason why you come to law school is to pass the bar and then become an amazing member of the practicing bar. So let's try this together. We will. We will. The second part of that is that's how it originally started a couple of years ago, but I'm a hip hop fan, so we always have to remix things. And in the remix version of that, the second part of it is we are, and the response is the pride. And we take great pride in the way that we do our business here at Delaware Law School. So we are the pride. And then the last piece of it is when I say the pride, the response is never rest. And you heard what I said there. When everybody else is sleeping, we are working. And when they are working, we are working harder. So the response is the pride, never rest, right? And so that message is so important. When I've looked at great organizations are great because they have a great community and they have a great culture. And that's part of our culture. It's part of the thing that inspires us to be who we are. If you see other students within the law school, law building, and you say that, they're probably going to be like, oh my God, but they're going to respond, right? Because they know that it is the essence of who we are. And we've had a lot of success. I can say that in the past 10 years, our bar passage results in both Delaware, New Jersey, and PA have been the highest that they've ever been. Definitely within PA and New Jersey, and in Delaware, we were at 80%. And some of you know that is largely regarded as the hardest bar in the United States. So we're really proud of the success that we're having. This is a truly exciting time to be at Delaware Law School. One of the things that some of you have heard about is the fact that this Delaware Law School is having discussions and really, really close to facilitating a move to downtown Wilmington, Delaware. The great thing about that is although our building may be transitioning, the special and the magic that happens in the building will be the same regardless of where we are. There's a thriving and caring community here at Delaware Law School that is focused on ensuring that each and every one of you feels a strong sense of belonging. So let me tell you about why I'm so excited about that move. We will own a building in downtown Wilmington, Delaware, that is 9 stories. We will occupy approximately 5 floors in that building. The top 4 floors we are thinking about transitioning into housing. It will be a state-of-the-art building. It will be completely renovated and calibrated for the future of legal education. We've received resounding support from public sources to the tune of $30 million, and we're selling this property and adding that. So we're talking about a $60+ million renovation in downtown Wilmington, Delaware, where you will have your legal study. So I'm really excited about that opportunity. I'm excited about the fact that one of the things that people should really appreciate about Delaware is the corporate capital, not just of Delaware, not just of the United States, but of the world. So you will walk into the mecca of the corporate universe by being in the city of Wilmington. There are amazing nonprofit organizations, community organizations with whom we have amazing relationships. We have 8 clinics here at Delaware Law School that do some amazing work, amazing outreach. And now the clinics that we offer, in addition to doing the great work that they've done since we've been here at Delaware Law School, we will be in the heart of Wilmington, Delaware to service communities that need our services the most. You will be a part of that experience. And so I'm very proud to be the dean here. This is a wonderful opportunity. And the best thing about Delaware Law School is not just our faculty and our staff, but our students. You will find that there are students that are willing to reach back and to help you and to inspire you and to give you the resources you need to be successful. We have this amazing alumni network. And I truly believe that our alum are just phenomenal. I would put our alum at Delaware Law School against any law school in the country. I was at an event yesterday at a large law firm in Philadelphia with a number of our alum, and it was just so inspiring to see how dedicated they are to practicing at the highest level and then supporting future students. I'll be traveling down to Florida tomorrow to meet with some of our alum. One is the CEO of a publicly traded company that has given a generous gift to the law school to further the work that we do in corporate law that hopefully some of you will take advantage of. So with that said, I just really want to thank all of you for coming out here, for applying to Delaware Law School. I'm excited about having you as my future students, hopefully having you in the class one day. And you are truly in a place that appreciates who you are, what you bring to the table. And we are excited and we are passionate about making sure that you achieve at your highest level and that you have the support necessary to get there. So with that said, I'm going to sit down and I'm looking forward to the discussion that we'll have. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Dean Clark. So we're going to move into our faculty panel, and it's going to be moderated by Eric Niskern, who is our Executive Director of Recruitment and Enrollment Initiatives here in the law school. He's one of many people you've probably worked with in my office. We have some other folks around the building today, but I will turn things over now to Eric to start the conversation.
Thank you, Dean Gardner. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Widener Delaware Law School, and congratulations on your acceptance. I hate that I have to follow Dean Clark as the speaker. I think I'm a pretty good public speaker, but it's hard to follow that, so I'll do my best. But I'm happy to be here today to facilitate a conversation with some members of our amazing faculty. 2 nights this week, I met with some of you via Zoom, where you got to talk to current students about their experiences here, what they like about it, and how they contribute to the welcoming community that we have. And so I'm happy to be here today to do the same with some of our faculty. We are not here to hide the ball in terms of how to be successful. We want to give you those secrets so that you come on day one fully prepared to be at your best and a member of our pride. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by asking each member of the faculty here today to introduce themselves, give a little bit of their background, educational background, why law school made sense for them, and what they do here at the law school in terms of what they teach and what their interests are. And then we're going to have a discussion where they're going to offer some great wisdom and tips, and then we will open the floor to all of your questions that you have for them. So even though you feel like you know Dean Clark, there's a lot more to learn. So we're going to start with Dean Clark.
Welcome. So Todd Clark is my name. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio, so I'm a really big Ohio State Buckeye football fan. And so if I have any fellow Buckeyes in the house, we can watch the game together. I went to undergrad at a small liberal arts school in Ohio called Wittenberg University, and then attended law school at the University of Pittsburgh. And then while I was in practice, I decided to do a MBA at WVU. So JD MBA. And what inspired me to attend law school is I just really wanted to make a difference in people's lives. I mean, it really dates back to the time I was about 5 years old. A good friend of mine got in trouble. And when I found out that he was in trouble, I went to the principal's office. And when I went to the principal's office to advocate on his behalf, I was able to get him out of trouble. And the principal said to me, you know what, you should think about becoming a lawyer. And I didn't have any lawyers or like that in my family. None of my family, I graduated from college, clearly not law school. And it was something that stuck with me. And, from that point, it became my center, and it was something that I've always wanted to do. And I was blessed enough to have an opportunity to pursue that goal.
Thank you. Dean Kelly.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Alicia Kelly. I'm the Vice Dean and Professor of Law here for 24 years. And I love this place. I love this place for the community, for you. And that you'll find that ethos to be true across the board. Like, your faculty are here for you. I can't wait to see your exciting transformation of your own life personally and of your in the lives of others. That's an amazing, powerful toolkit that we get here in law school to help ourselves and help our families and help the community. So that's what inspired me to go to law school. Also, I wanted to help other people, and I wanted to have a life that was going to be high quality, interesting, intellectual, but also, help other people. And so I teach family law. I teach the law of everyday life, family law, wills and trust, elder law, and property law, among other things. And I went to Temple undergrad, Temple Law. I have a master's degree in legal education, also from Temple. And eventually I did leave Temple and went to practice law in Colorado for a time. And then I became an Abraham L. Friedman teaching fellow and came back into the academy where I've been for a long, long time. I'm also a first-gen law student. So no, I didn't know any lawyers. I had nobody to help me go through law school. And, I know that's true for many, many of our students. I think we have like 85% of our students are first-gen to go to law school in their families, and also about a third who are first-gen college. So that's a really important opportunity and incredibly important constituency that we serve here.
Thank you, Dean Kelly. Professor Gurley.
Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Gurley. First of all, congratulations for getting in. I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be able to see some of you in my class. I teach legal methods, which is legal research and writing. I teach all 3 of them. And then I also teach evidence, which is one of my favorite classes to teach. And I have a seminar that I'm doing currently this semester called Race, Religion, and the Law. So a little background, I went to NYU for undergrad, Duke for law school, and I have a master's from Yale in religious studies, which is kind of the hybrid of my scholarship and my class. I am actually a second generation lawyer. So my father went back to law school at 43, right when I started college. So we were in school together. So it was great because I got like fresh notes when I went to law school because he had everything and he was just ushering me in. And so it was fabulous. So if you're a first generation and you have the chance to help someone out, please do when you graduate. After law school, I went and practiced with my father. He's a civil rights attorney. I wanted to be a civil rights attorney, which is why I went to law school because, well, two reasons. Matlock and Thurgood Marshall. I don't know if you all know the show Matlock from the 80s. I'm dating myself, but I wanted to do what Matlock was doing, which was not practicing law, as I came to find out. But I also wanted to do civil rights litigation because I was very passionate about that. Because like I said, my father is a civil rights attorney, but before then he was always advocating in the community. So I practiced with him. We went to trial with all major employers in Orlando, including Walt Disney World, and beat them at trial. And then I said, you know what? I can't keep doing this because the law is madness. Like the state of civil rights in Florida, no less, was crazy. So I changed and eventually I'm here teaching and I really love teaching. It's definitely a passion of mine. So I'm excited about getting to know you all and excited for this panel.
Thank you. And I can actually beat you when you said Matlock. I grew up in the 80s and I wanted to go to law school because of LA law, which is a terrible, terrible example of what the practice of law actually is. I learned the hard way. So I want to first start by talking, because again, as you said, Dean Kelly, the majority of our current students are first-gen law, and many of them are first-gen college graduates. So they come in with very little information about how to do this well. And I think having faculty who've been through that experience can make it a little less daunting. So we'll start with you, Dean Kelly, since you brought it up. When you started law school, what things intimidated you the most in terms of being prepared, and where did you find resources to help you through that experience?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I was pretty intimidated. I had never met a lawyer before. I didn't know. And I was very super impressed, but also intimidated by my professors. And I was not excited to go and see them on an individual. And I wasn't the person coming up after class with all the questions or anything like that. Although I was happy to participate in class voluntarily, I wasn't seeking them out on an individual level. And then I forget what the occasion was. I actually had somebody who needed to ask a question of my contracts law professor, like someone that I knew had a contracts question. I went to go ask my professor and he was so lovely and so accessible and so human and so caring. And I just that shattered my whole view of what the hierarchy in the academy and what good teachers do is they care about their class and they want every single person to be successful. And that's exactly who he was. But it took me a reason to go see him. So one thing I would say to you is encourage you to go see your professors. There's so much we can help you with. But we leave it to you to come to see us if you need help. And if you've got questions, or if you don't even know if you've got questions, you should make sure you come and see other folks. I also had absolutely no idea how to get a job. I didn't know what lawyers did. I just thought I knew what they did. Yeah. So there's a lot of learning. So I think that we care about this population so much, and myself, I've been teaching for decades to this group, and I know from having seen so many generations come through that you have things you don't even know you don't know, right? And we have a very very robust student organization, which is first gen students, and there's a lot of people in there. So we think very much about how to teach to that group of people. Of course, everybody in the room, but particularly first gen students.
Yeah. I'm going to get back to you. I want to switch over to you for a minute, Professor Gurley, because you mentioned your dad went to law school. So in addition to sharing notes, were there any words of wisdom, any pieces of advice that he gave you that you think would be advantageous to students coming into law school who are first gen that might give them a little bit of an advantage?
I would say the biggest advice that he gave me was when I was actually taking the bar. And he was saying, look, there's no magic to it. You have to do the work. There's so many problems you have to do. If you see it, your brain is trained to be able to pick up. So there's only so many ways they can ask a tort question, a contracts question. And if you expose yourself to that, then that's helpful. He also, like I said, he did give me notes, and I kind of had a primer going forward. But he encouraged me to also get some of the, I don't know if they have these now, but they had lectures on CDs, again, dating myself, where you could actually listen to it. He's like, just listen to those lectures even as you sleep, because it's going into your brain in some way. So even if you don't get a concept right away, once you hear it multiple times, even while sleeping, your brain is listening. And so those types of things were very helpful. And then I could always call and ask if there was some concept that was not very clear to me as well.
And I think you gave great advice to our students as you graduate and go out into the world, be that resource for students coming after you. I think that's wonderful advice. So Dean Clark, you strike me as somebody who, even now as a dean, has a pretty good work-life balance. I've never seen you upset, to be perfectly honest, or stressed. And if you are stressed, you manage it well. So I wonder, did that start before you went into teaching? Were you like that in law school? And if so, what advice do you have about how to create that right balance?
Oh, Eric is such a great moderator. He's wonderful. My goodness. You know, it was something that such a great question. It's something that I learned when I was really young, to be quite honest with you. For me, and I think that it's so important that everybody in this room understand that you are privileged. You are privileged to be sitting in this seat. No, there's no sad story for you. Like, your story is you are now about to become a lawyer one day. There are so many people in the world that would wish that they were sitting right here. I got students right now that were denied, that wish that they had the opportunity that you have in front of you. And so for me, it's all about keeping context. I remember where I grew up and the challenges that I had and the challenges that my friend had. And I pinch myself every day. Like, I have the ability to be the dean of the best law school in the country, to work with the best law students in the country. Like, I was in a meeting not too long ago and I get beat up a little bit. My faculty, in a good way, right? They were pushing for something to make sure that this move is as it should be. And I know some people would walk away from that experience and they would be down and frustrated, but I walked away from that experience inspired that I have so many faculty that are fighting for you, that are fighting for this institution, to make sure that we have the best law school possible. So a lot of it is just compartmentalizing things and keeping things in context. And I'll share one other story with you. When I was in law school, I don't know how many of you have been to Pittsburgh, but there is this area that we called it the O, and it was right across the street from the law school. And I remember one day, my first year of law school, walking down the street, and I saw this gentleman that was riding down the street on the skateboard. He only had a torso. He had no legs, and he had, two arms, and he was scooted around on this skateboard. And it just put so much in context for me, like the privilege that I have to be able to walk across the street and to take advantage of those opportunities. And I think life is really about appreciating the things that you are giving, making a difference in other people's lives. And for me, that makes it so much easier because, like I said, I am very blessed for the opportunities I have in front of me. So I would just like to tell you to keep that in mind.
And would you recommend if students do something now that brings them pleasure or helps them to center themselves, to continue doing that in law school?
Absolutely. I go to the gym every day. I go 7 days a week. That is my passion. I don't skip a gym workout, and that enables me to take punches pretty easy because, I'm like, I'll just go to the gym. As long as I can go to the gym, I'm fine. And so I think it is important for you to have outlets, and law school will provide you. It is a daunting experience. I mean, there's a lot of work in law school, but it's important to have those things that keep you centered, whatever they are.
What about you, Professor Gurley? Did you have something that helped keep you sort of regular and centered when you were in law school?
Yes, I had a great group of friends that I found. And so we would hang out outside of law school. I know we never sleep, but I had to sleep. So I do encourage you to sleep and then also have fun. Like sometimes, because finals come, especially at certain points in the semester, roughly around October, people start stressing out and like, I can't do everything. But I encourage you, and because it worked for me, to be able to have an outlet of friends, even if you're just going over to each other's houses and studying together, because that was kind of one of the most memorable times of law school, was getting in one of our classrooms and laughing as we studied together. And find a good group of friends. And I'm sure most of you will find your core group of friends that you'll have for life here, and have fun. Yeah. While you're studying and passing the first time.
And maybe sleep a little bit. And maybe even today. I know a few years ago, we had an admitted applicant event and somebody met their future spouse at that event. So you never know.
Oh, that actually
reminds me.
No, that reminds me, my first day of law school, the dean said, turn to your neighbor. By the end, one of you may be married to each other. So it's possible.
So everybody behave today. You never know. And Dean Kelly, I wanted to give you a chance too. What do you
Yeah,
do to help yourself stay centered?
A quick plug for sleep. So I'm a person, I teach like best practices for teaching and learning. And I've written a property textbook that is drawing on all those things. And one thing I found that's a miracle about sleep is we all know how important it is, right? But actually you learn while you sleep. So you actually do, like your body will start you're processing things. So sleep is actually helping you learn. So you can actually don't feel guilty. Say, I have to go to sleep so I can learn more, right? But seriously. And also remember that you're like, your body and your brain are like one living organism, right? And you want to bring your authentic self to school, and you want to be who you are, and you want to take care of yourself, because all the things you're doing with your body are feeding your brain, right? The things you're doing with your brain are having an impact on your body. And so you want to just make sure that you're looking at yourself holistically and taking care of yourself holistically, and you'll find ways to have peace. And I have to put in this pitch for something I found out that's called a forest bath. Okay, this made me so happy. I love the outdoors. And I can't remember the Japanese word for this, but it's called a forest bath. And the idea is you go outside for 10 or 15 minutes and you go sit in some outdoor space that's making you happy, like maybe the woods or on a sunny spot on a bench, and just sit there, put your phone away and just listen and just like have some time to yourself, right? And whatever, if you want your mind to wander, if you want it to not do anything, but focus on what you hear and what you see. I love that. And it's like a little mini break. We have to like be intentional about it.
So next fall, when we see a lot of these students sitting on the benches outside, just staring off into space, we know what they're doing. It's forest bath time. I love that. Thank you. So I want to talk a little bit now about the first year class experience. So I know you've teach legal methods, which is a first year course here. You've taught property. Dean Clark teaches contracts. So they've all taught first year courses. And so for many of these students, one of those classes will be the first class they walk into in this fall. So what does the first day look like in a first year class? What expectations do you have? Let's start with Dean Clark.
My expectation is that you are adequately prepared for the class, and I'm a recalibrate Eric's question just a bit, because I think I'm able to convey a really important message, which is, a lot of times when you are an undergrad, if the professor says you have to read 30 pages, what do you have for homework? That means nothing. You don't have to do anything. You're good to go. I see people laughing. They're like, yep, you're right. In law school, what that means is if you have 30 pages, that means you have about 6 to 9 hours worth of reading to do. And it is so important from an early point to spend the time. And if you see a word that you don't know, look it up, try to understand it. Just understand that you're going to have to read things 3, 4, 5 times. They at least have some level of understanding about what's going on, because all of the concepts will be new. And what I also encourage you to do is, as those classes continue to accumulate, when you get to day 2, don't read the material for day 2. Go back and review your notes from day 1, then read the material for day 2. When day 3 hits, go back and review the notes from day 1, day 2, then read for 3. And what happens is, if you're constantly reviewing that material, it becomes ingrained in your mind, and it's much easier to recall when you get onto an examination. And the students that I've seen have the greatest level of success are doing that constant repeat, like review, read the new, review, read the new, and that will help you do very well in law school.
That's excellent advice. Dean Kelly, what advice do you have? Or what are your expectations, I should say?
Expectations. So we expect you to be leaders in your own education. So that's why you're supposed to be doing the work before you come to class, because you're going to try to figure out. In the beginning, you don't know, there's a big learning curve. And so that's going to be a slow process, and you will get much better at it. But that's the idea, is that you are becoming professionals. I always say to my first year folks is like, you are no longer a college student. You are a lawyer in training, and you need to start thinking about yourself as a professional who's just, in training. And so lawyers are always leaders, right? And you also have to become a very good, effective student with effective learning skills, because lawyers are lifelong learners, right? You're always going to be learning. That's what's so fun about it, right? You're constantly growing and evolving, and that's wonderful. So we expect you to come to the room like ready to be enrolled like a lawyer. I always say, who in the room is acting like a lawyer? Because it's not just me, right? It's all of you, right? So there is what some people find intimidating, but it's an incredibly useful learning tool, is we will call on you. There's a Socratic method, which is, I'm trying the word Socratic method. Socratic means like to draw out of other students what the lessons are, right? So we'll ask you a lot of questions like, tell me about the case that you read. What's the legal doctrine that's at issue? What is the rule that's in this case? How does this rule apply to these facts? And so we are expecting you to like be processing all that, because the more you do that, you're developing a skill, not just the understanding of the rules that you're studying, but the skill of being a good learner and the skill of pulling out the rules and figuring out what the rules are and then applying them to a situation, right? Like client walks into your office, they tell you this is what's going on. And you say to them, well, I understand this is the legal issue, and here's what I think is probably going to happen if we were to go to court, and here's what we're going to do. So tons of problem solving is expected. So there's a whole layer of skill development that I think that first semester, first year law students overly emphasize the knowledge base, like they have to know all these rules. And of course you do, and there's a lot of them, but you have to know how to use them as a tool for problem solving and lawyering. And so there's a lot of hypotheticals in your class. So you'll be told like, here's a fact situation, like help me analyze it. And there's arguments and counter arguments. Like, does this rule apply? It might apply in this way, but there's an argument against that. And so that whole like series of argument generation and analytical thinking, critical problem solving, those are all the things we're doing in class, which makes it really dynamic. It's also it engages your brain a lot. So you'll find the class to go both probably long and fast at the same time, right? There's all fast-paced learning that's happening. But it's a lot of work intellectually in the room. So and you'll get better and better at it. And you'll start to, like I just say, wrap your arms around it, wrap your arms around the challenges. We learn from where the tough spots are.
That's great advice. Professor Gurley, we talk about legal methods, which is the legal writing course. I don't know if a lot of students understand when we say legal writing, what that is. Can you give them a little bit of an idea what that first year legal writing class looks like and what kinds of things you're teaching them?
Absolutely. So there are, as you said, just legal writing, which is different than the courses that Dean Clark and Dean Kelly teach, because those are called doctrinal. So that's where you'll get your cases and you'll be grilled, the Socratic method, all of that. For legal methods, however, it's a smaller class and you're learning how to write. And so I teach the CREAC method. So this is really kind of a formula to legal writing. And it's very different than what you may have done or did do in undergrad. So you may be a wonderful writer in undergrad, but when it comes to legal methods or legal writing, there's a particular way that it should be structured and how you're using the case law to create rules and then apply those rules to the facts of your client's case. So for me, my expectation is not necessarily that you need to have cases read, because you won't have cases read or cases to read. Rather, you'll have a textbook. Instead, I want you to come reading whatever it was that I did assign, but more so ready to try and test out these concepts. So I have a lot of in-class activities. Sometimes they're games, like I declare war, to talk about certain concepts. Sometimes I like to do relays and see who can guess the way to Blue Book, which is the way to cite cases. So I'm more interactive in my class, and I want people, my expectation is that people will be engaged, and typically they are, and not just sort of passively in their groups, because there's a lot of group work working through. Also, because the classes are smaller, we have one-on-one sessions where you have to do your drafts and you come and we discuss them. There's a set time each semester for us to do that, but I would encourage you all to do that even outside of that. Come to my office hours if you have questions about concepts that are not clear. I also host at the end of the semester a workshop for 6 hours where I allow you to come and I will read whatever you have as long as the time permits. So avail yourself of your professors, because we're here to help you and we want to make sure that you're successful in your writing. But like I said, it's a different class structure, but it's very important because you may know con law, you may know property, but if you cannot write, you will not get a job or you will not keep a job. So it's very foundational that you learn these concepts. I tell the first year class, that's when I start for the first day, I tell them it's kind of like you want to sing the Puccini song, Nessun Dorma, or maybe Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. And that is the goal that we're trying to get to. But for now, the first year, we're learning do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, da, right? So we're learning the building blocks before you can get to playing jazz or whatever. Really what I'm teaching you is the basics so that you can then go on and figure out how to be more creative in your legal research and in your legal writing.
So are there any skills, because I think a lot of, working in admissions, I talk to students who are concerned about what they need to know coming in. Do they need to know how to write like a lawyer coming in? What skills do you think at a base level they should feel comfortable with in terms of writing coming into law school?
I mean, obviously basic sentence structure, grammar, that's going to be important, because if we can't even get through that, then trying to figure out how to do the CREAC method, which is conclusion, rule, explanation, application, and then conclusion, you're going to be tripped up with that. So I think if you all are at law school, you should be able to have some writing skills. If you've gotten through college, then you know how to write. Other than that, it would be great if you had that experience, but it's not required that you have some kind of background in legal writing. Like I said, it's new for everyone. My main thing is that you're open to trying and don't be afraid if what you produce first is not what was ideal or what you expected. But as long as you're open to trying and willing to at least come to me and we can work, then that's what you need to be successful.
Thank you. And if you're sitting here, that means you at least wrote one essay that helped because you're here. We admitted you to law school. We got through your personal statement. So you've written that. My next question is kind of two-sided. Because again, looking from the admission standpoint, we read applications, we have a lot of students who come in with a passion for working with a certain population. They want to work with children in the juvenile justice system. They want to work with the elderly. They want to work with refugees, or they want to go back to their own community where they feel like there's not a lot of available legal resources. There are other students who are open to a lot of things and haven't quite yet settled on where they want to end up as an attorney and are hoping to sort of figure that out in law school. So for both of those students, the students who are coming in with, this is my passion, I have to do this, obviously they're not doing it in their first year of law school, or I'm not sure yet what I want to do. How do you guide either one of those students? I'll let whoever wants to answer either end of that.
I'll get started. So it's a super exciting opportunity for you to be curious and find out what you do want to do. So if you don't know what you want to do, that's great. That's totally fine. Like you will find out. And even if you do know what you think you want to do, you might change your mind, right? So you're going to just like come in curious and explore, see what's out there. If you're a person who really understands already really what's driving you and what you think you want to do, that's wonderful. You'll have an opportunity to talk to faculty who are working in those fields. You can see if we've got like public interest work that might relate to that, maybe externships and internships, and that will be true for everybody, right? One of the ways you can explore if you don't know, and like I said, it's really fine. Like even once you graduate and you get your first job, you can still be exploring what area of law you want to become really expert in, right? And you might start in one field and you might go to another. And so that's the wonderful opportunity of being a lawyer. There's so many different areas of law that are so exciting for you to choose.
Mm-hmm. I would say, actually, I was thinking my answer might be different contingent upon whether you knew what you wanted to do versus if you didn't know. And actually, my answer is the same for both groups. We have a lot of wonderful opportunities through our student organizations, through our career services. I know career service, I don't know if it's, Dean McDonald stepped out, but I don't know if it's this week or next week, but I think they're doing something about AI and how in the criminal law context, in the criminal justice system is utilizing technologies in AI to catch criminals. So what I would encourage you to do is while you're here, get engaged with the community. So if you see an event and there's a patent lawyer coming to speak, go listen, right? If you see something and there's somebody that does security litigation, go listen. What it does is sometimes you think you know what you want to do, but that doesn't turn out to be what you want to do. I thought that when I went to law school that I would do international law. That's what I wanted to do. I was a political science major, and I learned very quickly I don't want to do international law. So I transitioned to some other areas, and part of it was just that exposure. So I think that there's a value whether you know what you want to do or don't know what you want to do. There's a lot of value in just immersing yourself in the community. Like I said, we have a number. Like I was at an event yesterday with our military law society. They brought a speaker in. The other cool thing is when the student organizations do that, they normally have pizza or some other type of food. So at least you can have dinner for free and just kind of learn a few things along the way.
Thank you. Professor Gurley.
No, I would echo what they said. Follow your interests. Right. So, and the clinics are also a great way to do that too, to explore what you may be interested in, or maybe something that you're just vaguely interested in. I would say do that as well as use your externships and your internships over the summer to explore. Maybe you're not interested in family law, but that's what opened up. I would encourage you because one, now it's going to be on the bar. And it's a wealth of information to know even when you're going out to practice, because I'm sure at some point being a lawyer, someone's going to come to you with some family law question. So I would say just go to different things, use our clinics, our externships, and your summer internships to explore further what you want to do.
Great advice. Thank you all. So at this point, I think I've asked the questions that I want to know the answers to, but I'm sure all of you have some hopefully great questions for our faculty. We have some people from the admissions office with microphones, so they can amplify your questions. So if you have a question for us, if you could raise your hand, I will send a microphone your way. Oh, down here, Heather Hope.
Right. What is the timeline for the removal of the campus? Because I'm trying to figure out like if people are commuting or not and stuff like that. So what is the exact?
That's for the people. I want to make sure everybody heard. He's asking about the timeline for the move of the law school.
Yep. So in regards to the timeline for the move of the law school, the hope is that we will begin operations in the new facility in the fall of 27. So that will be, a little more than a year from now. That is the goal. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever done renovations or been a part of a renovation. We know how those scheduling dates go, but that is the expectation. So I would say possibly at the latest will be fall 28. But we are really pushing to ensure that it happens by fall of 27, and all of our calendaring is based upon fall 27 start date.
And I just jump in there and say it's like a 15-minute drive from right where we're sitting.
And what about parking?
That's a great question. So right now we have the building that we will own will have approximately 200 spaces under the building. And then there's another 20 or so spaces that are adjacent to the building. We are working on agreements now. There's another building, it's called Bracebridge 3, and there are 700 spaces under that building. So we're in negotiations right now to try to access those spaces for our students.
We have a question right here, Heather Hope.
Hi. With the on-site development of AI tools and kind of exposure to the kind of legal community, is this law school pro use of those tools, or will we be engaging with any of those tools, which we might need post-grad in legal firms or stuff like that?
Did you want to answer?
Well, I can at least answer as legal methods. So for legal methods 1, there's no AI use, but for the second legal method, so legal methods 1, you're learning the basics, just how do you do writing, objective writing. The second one is more persuasive, where you write an appellate brief. And that I am, for this semester, allowing them to use AI because I do believe it is actually the future. So for them not to be able to use it could put them at a disadvantage. But then how do you use it in a way that is actually going to be helpful is also what we're learning. So I think I know it's a professor by professor, but at least for me, I want my students to be as best equipped as they can be going forward.
Yep. So the other piece that I would add to that is your question is so timely. I got an email yesterday from someone at our we call it Chester, which is our main campus. So we got an email from Chester, and we are entering into a partnership with Boodlebox. How many are you familiar with Boodlebox? Okay, one person. And when you use it there. And so what Boodlebox does is it gives you access to an entire suite of AI tools like ChatGPT. I'm trying to think of some of Claude, ChatGPT, Claude, and it's not just the introductory version of those tools. It's the version of those tools with all of the bells and whistles. So that will be part of a product that now we are distributing and providing access to for all of our students, faculty, and staff. So I think that there's a commitment there. The other piece of it, in full transparency, I think any law school in the country will tell you this, faculty are trying to think about, they're grappling with that now. Like, what does it mean, right? And I think that you'll probably find some faculty that are, more on the advanced curve on that and introducing and including it. Then you have some faculty that are like, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to measure it. But I would say from an institutional perspective, what we have done from the administration is to try to cultivate an environment where it is encouraged, and then faculty at different levels incorporate it into their classroom. I mean, I say this all the time. To some extent, engineers might have more to do with the future practice of law than lawyers, but I mean, it is definitely a tool that people are utilizing, and there's a lot of value, and I think there's a lot of benefit of understanding how to incorporate it into the classroom, and faculty are going through that process.
Just let me add one thing. So we have to have our students be able to be experts in writing and doing legal analysis themselves, right? But like we can't have a tool that helps you do that. You have to be able to do it so that you understand what the tool is doing well and what it's not doing well. And you only know that if you understand it yourself. Like you have to be the expert who's using that as a tool to help you make your work more productive. So that's why in Legal Methods 1, for example, we have no AI because it has to be you developing the skill yourself so that you're the brain that understands how to use that. But then I would just say institutionally across the country, like lawyers are using AI all the time. And it's an essential lawyering skill that we're going to be teaching our students. And we're just exploring like how to do that best. Yeah.
So for classes that are allowing AI, are you instituting some sort of red light, green light type of situation where in this particular test or program that they're doing, it's red light, no, they can't. And like, is it very clear to the students? Because that's where a lot of it could fall apart.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So I'm the academic dean. So absolutely. So right now we have a policy that if you're not explicitly told you're allowed to use AI, it's banned and it's a violation of the academic code and it can get you expelled, right? It's cheating and then there are consequences from that. We've moved to almost all in-person closed book exams for final exams because if you have an access to technology in your hand, it's too susceptible we want to protect academic integrity and learning. So that's what the testing environment looks like. The learning how to use the tool and having it help you be productive, that's completely different, right? And so we're trying to develop a skill set. And then I think there's other ways as we have AI, maybe you can use AI for learning and developing your skills, but then we give you an oral exam so that you have to tell us what you understand. So we're trying to figure out how to balance letting it help you learn and a tool for learning and not having it substitute for your professional competencies.
What do you do at Moravian, just out of curiosity? Okay, I'm class of 96, that's why I asked. Very proud. Very awesome. Welcome. Greyhounds. I love it. Yes, I have a question back here.
With Delaware being the corporate capital, I guess, of the world, I was just kind of curious on what internship opportunities that you guys have like partnered with.
Oh.
And are they just solely in Delaware? Are they in Pennsylvania?
Great question. That's a great question. So let me tell you about one distinguished honor that we have at Delaware Law School. And I'll tell you a funny story about it as well. When I became the dean at Delaware Law School, people kept talking about Walcots. And I'm like, who is Walcott? What is Walcott? I had no idea. Well, you will know what a Walcott is. The Walcott Fellowship is an opportunity for students here at Delaware Law School. Right now, we have 10 Walcott Fellowships. So there's a stipend that's associated with the fellowship. And then in addition, you end up working for a member of the Delaware Supreme Court or a Delaware Court of Chancery member, and you work with that individual for an entire year and you get a stipend. It is like the IT credential. And just to kind of give you guys some context about when I said this is the corporate capital of the world, part of the reason that is true is because 68% of America's Fortune 500 companies are incorporated in the state of Delaware. When you come to Delaware Law School, I'll tell you a cool story about how that happened, because it actually should have been New Jersey. But in any event, Delaware occupies that status. And what that means is if there are any issues involving the internal operation of the company between the directors, officers, and shareholders, Delaware law is going to apply. And often those cases are litigated here in Delaware. Some of you probably remember not too long ago, Elon Musk was in a dispute with the shareholder over a $55 billion compensation package. That's 55 with a B, not an M. And that decision about whether the compensation package was authorized or not was litigated here in the state of Delaware in our Delaware Court of Chancery. Some of you may or may not know this, but the famous Brown versus Board of Education case, the case that actually set the legal framework for Brown versus Board of Education, was litigated right here in the state of Delaware in the Delaware Court of Chancery. So there's that is one opportunity. And then because of its status, there are a lot of really large law firms that have offices here because of the extensive amount of chancery work that is available. So we have relationships with all of those firms. We have a number of students that are summering with those firms or working with those firms upon graduation. The other piece is you ask about like, what are the opportunities outside of that? I would say at graduation, about 25% of our students end up practicing in Delaware, about 45%
about 45% in PA, and then the remainder in New Jersey. And so we have these wonderful relationships with lawyers and law firms in each one of those jurisdictions. Last piece about it, 2 weeks ago, I was in Florida because one of our alum is a senior level partner at the largest litigation firm in Florida. So I got a chance to take a group of students down there that did a mock competition with some of the first year associates there. And they said, Todd, we want your student. So if anybody has an interest of enjoying the amazing weather of West Palm and working in a large law firm, there's some opportunities available. So the other piece of this, if you do well at Delaware Law School, you will be able to write your ticket. And so whether you want to go and do work in public interest, we have a lot of work relationships with the ACLU and other public organizations. If you want to go work for a law firm, that is available. Hopefully some of you know what these really big law firms are paying. And if you don't, they're paying base salary first year out of law school about $220,000 to $230,000 a year. That's the base. When you add in the bonus, you're probably closer to $300,000. That's as a first year associate, and it only goes up from there. And even if you don't do that, some of our public interest positions, I got word the other day that some of them are really close to six figures, which is absolutely amazing. When I was in law school, those same type of entities were paying like $30,000 or $40,000. So this is being at Delaware Law School, we have some wonderful access to employers.
Thank you. We have two questions down in the front here, probably closer to Heather Hope.
Hi, my name is Anu. I'm from New Jersey. Thank you for putting together this event. I wanted to ask if you had any work study opportunities, or if you could talk about like applying to be like a teaching assistant or a research assistant, some information about that. Thank you.
And Heather Hope, right next door, is the next question.
So we definitely have those opportunities. And I would say a significant number of faculty are using teaching assistants. That's an amazing opportunity for you to develop a relationship, but also to help other students. And we actually have academic success fellows. So we have, people who are very successful in the first year of law school who come and then are helping to support the development and success for, the next incoming class. So that's another, and there's a pretty significant number of people who do become academic success fellows. And then also research assistants. And then you can have, and Brooke, if you want to speak to any experiences you might have.
Well, and so I have both research assistants and teaching assistants. The teaching assistants usually are students who did very well in the class. So if you at least got an A in there, in whether it's legal methods or evidence. So that's how I picked the teaching assistants that I have. Research assistants usually come from my legal methods class. So those who did very well and I could see have great analytical abilities. And I'm sure professors do things differently. Some take applications and they pick, interview students and they pick that way. But for me, it's usually a student who's already been in my class and did well.
Hi, I'll be an incoming evening part-time student. So I'd love to hear just a little bit about access to faculty from the perspective of office hours. Really exciting to hear about all of the different opportunities for clinics and externships. Could you talk a little bit about what that looks like for an evening student, especially someone like myself where I'm going to be working a full-time job during the day?
Great question. It's a great question.
Our full-time faculty teach in the evening. So you will have like direct access to our full-time faculty. And then we find, so first of all, congratulations and welcome. The part-time students are doing an amazing thing where you're working full-time. A lot of times people have children and then they're going to school at night, and like the work ethic and the dedication and the desire to get to the other side to have this transformative experience is amazing. So we respect enormously all of our students, and we're just we understand what our part-time evening students are going through. So we are very accommodating to try to meet with you whenever you have the spare moments that you can do that. We find for whatever reason, having a lunchtime Zoom meeting works best for our evening students because they can sneak out at lunch and from their jobs, and because you're in class so often, so long, right after a long day of work. So there's limited time available, but plenty of faculty are standing there talking with you at 10:10 at night. If you've got questions, we're there for you. So.
And I'll add one other piece of that. You were talking about what's the environment like, and I'll tell you that I echo everything that Dean Kelly said. And I know that when a couple of years ago we got together and we wanted to create a person for the evening division students. So one of the things that we did was, Dean Kelly is and we have Dean Ferris, Dean of Students, and then our Vice Dean here. But we wanted to give the evening divisions students a person, so we have an assistant dean of the evening division, and I really think that that's it. That helps us, has helped us move forward and be more cognizant of the types of special issues that come up for our evening division students, because she's a really strong advocate. So, a lot of times, to be quite honest with you, the evening division drives a lot of the things that we do, because we're trying to make sure that we have a really inclusive environment. Now, you also asked about clinics. I wish Dean Harrington was here, but if Dean Harrington was here, she's our Associate Dean of Experiential Learning, and she is the clinic hustler. Like, she's always trying to push me to create a new clinic, which I always agree to. And one of the things, Joseph's last, one of the things that she did was she wanted to create a specific clinic for the evening division students. And so part of the challenge with some of the clinics is if it's a litigation-based clinic, the litigation is happening during the day. That's when the court is open, right? So she was looking at creating specialized clinics for the evening division. So we've thought about our Dignity Rights Clinic could fit in that space. And what was the one that she
Estate planning.
Estate planning could be a clinic specifically for evening division students. One of the years that we offered it, we didn't get any enrollment. And so we're just trying to figure out what we need to do with it timing wise in the evening and scheduling wise to make sure that students take advantage of it. I mean, we've even talked about doing work on the weekends, but what I will tell you is that there's a desire and a willingness to make sure that evening division students get those experiential learning opportunities, because we know that those experiential learning opportunities turn into job opportunities for our students.
I can say from the sessions we had this week, when we were talking to student leaders, there's a lot of student organization events every semester, and a lot of them are scheduled in that in-between period at the end of the day for the day students, but before evening classes begin, so that evening students, if they choose to, can attend meetings of organizations or events, speakers, things like that. So they try to be mindful of that period where you're here, but your classes haven't begun yet. And I've talked to a few part-time incoming students today, so there's a good group. You should find each other and start your group. Oh, somebody way in the back.
What traits or attributes would you say are common in your most successful students?
That's a good question. So girly.
Oh, I have to
Say
start
good writing
there.
skills.
Yes, great writing skills. Well, one, like I said, they are not afraid to come to office hours and ask for help. And they do the reading. They're always prepared. I can tell that they're prepared. They're not winging it. And they're disciplined. So disciplined, not afraid to ask for help, prepared students. And they have a nice balance. Like they're not, I mean, like I said, there are points in the semester where you'll be stressed out around October. And but they still seem to have a balance, and they're also engaged in the environment, the community here, right? So they're also leaders and student organizations. They're doing wonderful things, which to me indicates they have this balance and they know what they're doing. But yeah, so I think those are some of the skills, just thinking off the top of my head.
Great.
I would add the word resilience, like keep coming after it. Be open to, not open to, encourage, come wrap your arms around constructive criticism. I have students come to me and they say, just tell me what all the stuff I'm doing wrong. I'm like, yep, that's my job, right? I'm going to tell you what you're doing right. And then the place of growth, the place where you're going to get better is if I can help you identify your own gap areas and what your skills deficits are and grow from there, right?
And, I will say that what I see in the best students, one thing is you're expected to take notes and brief. You'll talk about that when you get to law school. Brief every case. And there's a way that you cannot do it. There's another way you could take a shortcut, and then there's another way where you could do it in depth. The best students are the ones that brief every case, and they do it at the highest level, because that shows them that they start to understand that information at a very, very high level. The other thing is, I echo the other comments that they're initiators, and so when the final exam comes around and they come to see me, I'm like, hey, how are you doing, Jim? And I know the person's name before they get there because they've been in my office so many times, to the point that I'm about to file a harassment suit against the student because they keep coming to see me, but they are making me earn my worth as a faculty member. And then the other piece of it, when they come to use those for those office hours are really valuable. So one of the things that will happen, and students, you don't see this, but we do as professors. The date of the midterm, you're going to have somebody that's in your office for the first time. They're in trouble. Then they're in the office for the first time and they're like, Dean Clark, what is a contract? And I'm like, oh my God. Now, from the student perspective, they're going to think, well, I went to see the professor. I'm in a good boat. No, you're not. The next student is going to say, Dean Clark, I was looking at 2207 today, and I was looking at comment 4 to 2207, and comment 4 says 2207 is subject to the provisions of 2201, which with respect to the statute of frauds. Can you help me flesh out what that means? Okay, that's a better question, right? Then the third student is going to be, hey, Dean Clark, this is the 5th time that I've seen you. This is my 3rd essay. I would like some feedback on this particular essay, not on the substance, because we've talked about the substance, but I really want you to focus in and hone on my analysis. I believe that my analysis is on point, but can you help me understand the difference between merely a regurgitation of the facts versus the higher level of analysis that you're talking about? You see 3 of those students, you already know which one is getting the higher grade. Be that 3rd student. And so the only way that you can get there is if you're putting in the work, you're doing the practice questions, you're doing the practice essays, you've been into your professor's office multiple of times, you're briefing every case. Those, if I were to say the students that did that, all of those are not just my best students. They're getting the Cali Award, which means that that's the student that earned the highest grade in the class.
So we do have to wrap up. We're almost at time before you have an opportunity to go back and talk with our students and take tours of campus. But in the last couple of minutes, I wanted to ask each of our professors if you could, roughly 30 seconds or less, go back to your first year of law school and knowing everything that you know now, if you could give your first year self a piece of advice that would make that experience even better. No pressure. What would that 30-second advice be?
I'll go first. It would be simply, girl, chill. Everything is going to be all right. Enjoy the ride. You're going to meet some wonderful people who you still text every day and are friends with. And you deserve to be here. So know that and be confident in that.
Great advice. Dean Kelly.
Always remember your why. Like, why are you here? Why are you here? I want you to think about that like every day from now until you graduate. And then I want you to think about that every day of your life when you're practicing law. Like, what is my purpose? What is my passion? I want to remember what that is, because that's driving why you're all the things you are and your personal identity and your professional identity.
And I will say, I've said this in many first years, when they are at that point where they're forgetting why they're here, I tell you, come and see me and I will sit there and read your personal statement back to you, because you've all told us already great reasons why you want to go to law school. So if you forget that, I will read it back to you happily. Dean Clark.
This is such a perfect message. Know when to shut up. And I know when to shut up because Dean Kelly and Professor Gurley made such excellent points that I don't think I need. I mean, that's exactly the advice what both of you said.
That's a great way to end. Can you please help me give them a round of applause for their time today?
Thank you all. Can you all give a round of applause for Eric Mr. He is just a master moderator. And thank you to Heather, Hope, and Steve for running our questions. So right now what we're going to transition to is back out in the atrium. Please grab a few more snacks and drinks. Please take time to visit with, we have student service members of staff out there, some students. Please mix and mingle. Our faculty will also head out that way and you can meet them out there, continue the conversation. And then anyone who would like to take a tour, we're going to take off from the registration table around 4. We'll split up in groups so you have some smaller groups, but we'll see you out there in the atrium. Thank you so much.